What's up, realistic trees? Subscribe. I'm Young Text YouTube and Dreams. Young Text on YouTube and Twitch. You can follow, subscribe. If you do subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell. And if you need more tutorials, click my channel name, then just go to my channel playlist or just scroll down. I have animation, how to make games, 3D model sculpture tutorials, and how to, of course, make music. I'm Young Text. If you want to join the Dreams Ps4 Amino, feel free to if you have the Amino app, or if you want to get the Amino app, just join in. So as you can see, my realistic trees, this right here is the style of realistic trees. I mean, I can just call it the Hogwarts style. It's really simple, it's really easy, and it looks really good, as you can see. And combined with good scenery, other scenery elements like leaves, you can get a really stunning take on how to make realistic trees. If you make your leaves more realistic, it'll make everything look more realistic. This right here, I just wanted basic leaves, you know what I'm saying? I'll just go ahead and show you how I made these leaves if you're not trying to go too in depth with it. All it is going to stamp, going here, choosing either this or this one, then after that going to edit shape, and then heightening this up, then making it the spear tool. You can also heighten this up a little bit by half if you want to, but you got to heighten this one up. I'd recommend all the way. You could try little tiny patches, and you can also make the colors different. If you need to change the finish, you can change the finishes and stuff right there. Outside of that, if you want to learn how to make better leaves, you can search it up in the Dreamverse. Just type in realistic trees and then study how somebody else made their leaves. That would be the best way to learn how to make leaves. Now, trees is a little bit harder. This is a way you can do shading with your trees. After you're done making your tree, clone it and then overlay it like that, and that'll make it look more realistic, having a from darker to lighter. Just make the second coat a little bit darker and you should be good. Your first coat would look something like that, and you can see it looks good like that, but whenever it is combined with shading, it also gives off this bark-like look if you look right here. So you can do that kind of thing for overlay effects. Overlay can help make the bark look more realistic. The thing that makes it look even more real is whenever you get done with the root area. That's really important, actually. It's like this tiny stuff that's actually really important, like the root area and whatnot. The hardest thing to figure out is the bark. How do you actually make the bark? So if I go to this tree, you'll see it's really just squares. If you actually look right here, you can actually see the squares going up and whatnot. There's a few things you can do to make your tree. Use the cylinder, so go to here, and I recommend making your thing a lot darker than what it starts out as. Like this is a good darkness, and this is a good darkness. The darker it is, the better, in my opinion. And you can either size it up and then stretch like this. And it's actually better to actually make it really tall. The branches is just the curve tool. Let's go ahead and show you guys the branches before we begin with more of the tree. Branches are actually really simple. This is the curve tool. And then you'll hit edit shape, and then you'll curve it. And then you should probably make it a little bit bigger at the beginning. And then you can mess around with it. But essentially, this is what it is. And then you'll want to texture it with my texture technique that I am about to show you. You can place them down the way that I place them down if you want to. It's a good way to place them, I guess. So you can see it's looking good, and if you want to, you can go ahead and start making the bottom section right here where the root area would be. What you can do for this is make sure you're in stamp mode. So there's two modes, stamp and smear. Smear is for texturing your squares. Stamp is for doing this kind of thing, molding it like Play-Doh. You'll go up here, raise this up however much you want to raise it. I recommend, before you even start laying down your tree, turn down the loosen amount all the way if you want it to look realistic. I just didn't do that because I forgot, but that's what you want to do. But after you get to this far, you want to lay down your root area. That's this. And that's what we're working on right now. It's real simple to make the root area. It's nothing too complex. It's just, I mean, you don't have to use the spear tool to do it. And I'd probably go to the bottom and make it have depth and not have anything poking out. Probably go to the end here, go back to the bottom. And this is how you add depth to the tree. This is actually really important. You just go to the sides and then do this. This will make it look realer, believe it or not. And you want to do this to the back of it also. And you want to, for the branches, you want to like press down on them and make them smaller. You don't want them to like, you know, be too, you know what I'm saying? Too thick and whatnot. And then what I noticed, the easiest way to get these branches to actually look right, if you don't want to like mess with it too much and you're just ready to go to the next step or whatever, you can like cut at the end. Sort of like this. And it really starts looking really good if you just do that. I mean, you don't have to. And this is where you'll place your leaves on these branches. Then you'll want to make it have this top part up here. Where I'm circling with the imp, you'll want it to like cover it up at the top with leaves and whatnot. If you really want to make realistic leaves, just look it up in the Dreamverse and then study how somebody did it. Real simple how you can do branches and whatnot. And then you can also cut right here, something like this, you know. You can make the square a little bit longer. That also, and you can like, I would recommend doing it something like that. And then you can like stretch it and move it and whatnot if you need to, and clone it if you need to. That's just another tip. You don't have to do that if it looks good. I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible for you guys. I'm just telling you guys. Next, what you can do is go up the tree with the cylinder, size it up to where you have things poking out, sort of like this. And I actually recommend doing this, so that way there's like folds in your tree. You might not want it to be that big. You can like blend cut, you know, along the sides if you want to. And this will kind of like make it have a bark effect. As you can see, if we start going out, it really starts looking cool. Go to the bottom down here where the roots are. Start making that look a little bit more tiny. It's starting to look a lot more like a tree, you know. And we'll just keep going up, sizing the cylinder down and up as we feel. And around the top, as you go up, you want the tree to get smaller. I mean, you don't, if you're going to cover it up with green leaves, you don't have to, but I'm just letting you know it gets smaller as it goes up, such as the branches get smaller as it pokes out. And then what you want to do is look at it from the side. You want to do all this to the back also, and the other sides too. And you want to see places where you might want to press inward, you know, like this. If it's poking out too much. You can do that with the branches also, if you want to. And all this, and we still have yet to start with the branches looking realistic, but as you can see, it's real simple. I like making the branches look smaller. The tree looking more realistic, not the branches, sorry. It's a good way to actually make these trees, these branches though. So we're now starting to get a more realistic feel for the tree. I'd say around this part we can start using the bark, making the bark. And remember what I said, whenever you start laying this stuff down, you always, like everything, you always want to make sure that you, and for the branches, go to smear and choose square. So, or not the branches, the bark. So now we're working on the bark texturing. Smear and square. Then what I was saying is always turn this down before you lay anything down, such as the cylinders or the branches with the curve tool. Always turn this down all the way. Before we actually start laying down our square, this is actually too big. I mean, you can use this if you want to. Make sure you size it down though. That's not what I mean by too big. What I mean is you want to actually go here, edit shape, and then make this 4 by 4 or whatever. Then you want to like turn it on the side. If you want to, around this step, I think that's actually a good size. Maybe size it down a little bit, we can mess with it. But around this step, you can either use surface snap and it'll snap to the surface of the tree. You want to press R2 and go up with it. You can do that if you want to. The slower you go up, the more it'll be together. But if you go up fast, it'll like be jagged like that. You can also try sizing down as you go up, if you want to, and try all sorts of patterns. The circle pattern like this could work for bark. That might work for you, and then going on top of that. It just all depends on what you want to do. If you don't want to use surface snap, sometimes it gets in the way. Just remember you don't have to. I mean, the quickest way would be to figure out a way to use it with surface snap because it makes everything faster. And I guess if you can use mirror mode, that would help too. Thing is, you can't always use mirror mode, but when you can, it makes things a lot easier, as you can see. The reason why you wouldn't always be able to use mirror mode is because sometimes you'll like have the tree on the wrong side. You can also try using kaleidoscope. It might make it easy to do this kind of a tree. Just going all the way up. And what we'll do, and I've never done it this way before. I've never done it this way at all, so this might mess it up, but it might not. This might actually work. What we'll do now is turn all this off and see if I can fix this. Text, how can you fix that? It actually looks kind of good in some areas, as you can see. How can you fix that? It's actually simple. If it is fixable, what you'll want to do now is go into stamp mode. You want to go to edit shape. You want to turn out the blend settings. You might want to keep this square. Now you can either blend it by deleting, which might be preferred. You want to turn off surface snap for this, if it's still on that. You can like size it up and just go around the tree. And you can make indentions this time, like you can like leave indentions in the tree. But what you're trying to do is get rid of a lot of the square texture while leaving some of it there, if that makes sense. So sometimes you'll want to like, you know, mold it all together. And you might want to use the spear tool. You might want to use the square tool. You might want to leave cracks in your tree. We're going to go ahead and use the spear tool or the cylinder. Go with the spear. Edit. Always turn this down like I've been saying for everything. Turn the blend up. We're ready to go. Yeah, I think spear would work wonders whenever it looks like this. And we haven't textured the branches yet, so you might want to, like, you know, do things like one at a time. But it seems like this is actually gonna work. Yeah, this might work. I think it's poking out too much right here. Don't want anything poking out too much. I just go around the tree, blend where it needs to be blended inside. So whenever I'm blending on the inside, then going back out, making it smaller. Don't want a fat tree, like a tree with a belly, you know what I'm saying? You might want to go over here, turn on studio light if you can't see what's behind it. Thing is, whenever you turn on that light, it can like make it hard to see what's actually going on, you know what I'm saying? But we should be okay. I like using the cylinder tool to leave these indentions, you know what I'm saying? Indentions are cool. I love having indentions in my tree. Indentions like this. It's the way that it would work. Look, if you do it the cool way. I like cracks too. I love cracks. We're trying to make sure our tree doesn't look pregnant. It's one of the lines right there that I like. The indentation right there, you can see it from the cylinder that we placed beforehand. I think our tree looks like it has a back, so I'm gonna get rid of this right here. But I am gonna keep the indentation. Tree looks like it has a head, so I'm gonna like press right here and get rid of that kind of a look. You can also like leave big indentions, like if you want to. Get rid of this. From right here, it's really just polishing it. That actually looks really halfway decent. Hopefully it does when we turn off the studio lighting. Maybe go up here, make it look more like this at the top. You can cut a hole at the top, you know. If you want to, you can like make the rings of a tree. See what I'm saying? Up to you. And it looks really good when you start adding things like grass and leaves and stuff. It's just about there up here. It's always the scenery that adds to it once you actually get something looking realistic. Like, it's not just going to be the tree that makes it look realistic. It's going to be a combination with the leaves. The tree is the tree scale. That's actually really important. I like making sure that there's like an armpit-like area underneath every branch. So you got to add depth in the right spot. In other words, cut in the right spot to where it's like right under the tree but not over the branch, you know what I'm saying? You got to do that for like every branch. You got to figure out where that spot is. It's easy to find the spot. Just kind of just think of it like a hand, so that way your branch doesn't look like it's just poking out. It looks like it's poking out like a armpit would. Sort of like that. You'll see, you like make a U or whatever. Like do that right here. Don't do that here. Maybe I did a little bit too much right here. Probably make this branch look a little bit better. Cut, you know, or undo your cuts that you made by pressing circle on the highlight lines or whatever, like I just did. This one might, there, that'd be good. So, let's see if we actually know what we're talking about. It's starting to look cool. I'm gonna polish things up. Just want to go around and look for the spots that have squares that are poking out too much, and you want to fix those accordingly. And then you'll want to texture the branches also. Like that's really throwing it off actually. If I was to show you what the tree would look like without any branches, you'd see that it looks a whole lot more realistic than what you might think. It's just because all I did was the, you know, but you want to texture every branch the way we did the tree itself. That's more like what it would look like. If I mess with it, it'll probably end up looking a whole lot better than the trees back there, because I used a different method. I think I should place a depth cut right here for this tree in particular. And maybe add some more texture along the side, top up here. Really just depends on what you want to do. Seems to be poking out way too much right here. Get rid of that. I'm going to use the spear to make a branch right here, and notice how I'm making the spear get smaller as it pokes out. So you can do that also. We'll go underneath it and add that depth armpit area that I showed you how to make earlier. Made it look cool. And we're gonna make it smaller because I don't feel like texturing this part right here to make it look real. So instead I'm just gonna make it smaller, since everything else down here has texture. You can texture that if you run into a problem like that. Right here, this cut makes it look not real. It's a lot better. What you'll want to do now is just polish. That's really all you want to do at this point. You just want to polish at this point. And don't forget to clone if you need to overlay it. If you want to overlay it. think that'll work. After you overlay it, what you want to do is get rid of the dark in some of the places, you know, that don't need it. You can get some really cool bark effect like that. Probably don't need the overlay on the branch right here. I'm gonna have to fix up this branch, but that branch made it look cool. And then you want to like add stuff that'll make it look more realistic, like the scenery and stuff. Like it helps out more than you know. This is what it would look like if it had, you know, leaves. If you need a representation. What you want to do with the leaves, like where the branches are, that's where you want to put the leaves. You don't necessarily want to place it like this. I mean, you can. But you don't necessarily want to do that. You usually want to, like, if there's a branch right here, you want to put the leaves right there. You know what I'm saying? This actually looks pretty good, so I guess you could do it like this if you wanted to. You can do something like this. Don't be afraid to size up one leaf patch if you need to. Next, what you want to do is find the best spot for the tree to where there's light that's at, where the light can actually hit it. You also want to link the branches and the leaves and the extra coat together, the other layer of the tree, you know. You want to link all that stuff together. It's the plus button right here. So that way you can turn it and find the area where the light hits it the best. And that way you can see all the good work and texturing that you did on your tree. Don't forget to texture the branches. The more work that you put into the tiny stuff like the scenery that goes around the tree, the better it's going to look also. So just keep that in mind. You usually don't want to make these too big. The only reason I'm messing with this is because, like, I'm trying to, like, see if there's, like, a way for me to, like, you know, do it right with something like this. Because I might actually keep this tree. I think how I could do it right is get the tree, for this tree in particular, get the green off of the branch right there, since it might just be too low to the ground for it to look right. Usually you want the branches to have leaves, though, but, you know, not all branches can need leaves, I guess. You can use a light. I don't recommend doing that. Always try to make something look realistic without lighting. Because that means that means people, when they're using it, they'll know there's no tricks, you know what I'm saying? But if you need to try to make things look even more realistic, you could try using the gradient effects, the sun and sky, and of course the light. Sometimes you just need to place one down just to see what you're doing. And that's the way you could make realistic bark for your tree. And again, this isn't the best way to do the branches or the leaves. I'll admit that's not probably the best way to do the leaves. It's a pretty dang good way to do the bark though. Best way to do the leaves, since I haven't like been messing around with that, is really just to go in the Dreamverse, type in like realistic tree. And then study how people use their leaves. I saw a really good one. I like this one. I'm trying to like master a way to do it to where you don't have to like lay it down as one patch and it still looks you know, like the way I was doing it before. Like the way that I would do it is probably something more like this. But that's not the kind of leaf that I'm trying to do. There's different types of leaves. Ecology class. You can study ecology. That'll probably help you with your realism. But is this it? This might be a good way to do it. I haven't looked at this. Yeah, I like this. And look at the way they textured theirs. It's cool. It's cool. I really like their leaves though. So you would like just pull out other people's stuff and like study how they like did it. Usually you can like delete the bark from it if you like don't want to do that, if you don't want to like do your own leaves, you know. And this is what I mean. You like put like one strand of leaf right there. That's one branch, you know. And then the other branches would have their own leaves, you know. This is how they like did their branches. It's a sculpture. They use the dots for the flex. And then the setting, they're also using the shape of this right here, I guess. Settings is this. Loosen them out this much and blend them out that much. That's how you would like see the settings that you need to do. And they also have this on one. You just look through here. And then I guess, I'm not sure how they like place it down. I guess they just like, you know, did something like this, you know, then started changing the color. Your boy Young Tex isn't good with leaves yet. But I mean, it's really. I guess this is just this. It could just be stippling. So just stippling, and then just going up around it, maybe sizing it down. You know, it's a little bit of like, you know, that's what it looks like close up. You can look around, like, you know, mess around with how you want to do it. You can also, if you want your leaves to move, you can turn this up. And that kind of thing helps with the realism, making it to where leaves and stuff can move. I really like this tree. When the light hits it, you're like, whoa, Tex knows what he's doing. But yeah, that's what it looks like from behind, you know. It might drive people crazy if I don't show them that. I'm gonna add like a bee thing, you know. Here's the other ones. I might like that one a little bit better, I don't know. I didn't do these with this kaleidoscope and stuff, but I think that'd be the easiest way to do it, you know. These are all the steps. I think this is a really good tree. Don't forget to like leave spots that have no texture on your tree also. That actually makes it look cool. Around the bottom here, man, I really like this one. Hope it doesn't give that dude credits for just for me importing their thing. I might have to like save this and then like, you know, I don't know. Subscribe, hit the bell, join the Dreams Ps4 Amino, and yeah, that's how you figure the leaves out, and it's what I got for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I enjoyed everything about this video. It's been a while since we like jumped in here and actually showed you guys how to do some stuff. So with sculpting, so yeah, I think we got it right. Subscribe, hit the bell. I'm Young Tex YouTube and Dreams. Can't wait for Dreams PS5. Young Text on YouTube, Young Text on Twitch. And if you need more tutorials on how to make games, how to make other sculptures, how to make music, how to make animations, hit my channel name, then scroll down, or just hit my channel name, then look for the playlist section up at the top where the other, you know, words from videos to other things are up there. So that's how you do all that. You can also mess with the top part of the tree, you know, like if you want to. If you want to like make it to where the tree like does stuff like this, do that also, so you know.